What's up, freak bitches, wherever you may be, however you may be watching? Thank you so much for giving us just a little bit of your time. A whole lot of interesting entertainment and movie news to go into, and I am so very happy to have my regular crew here. The first of which being the wonderful Dowager Countess Lady Cara. How are you today, ma'am? Fan-damn-tastic. Usually you go into a little bit more than that. Well, you will survive. As also will my good friend, my hetero life mate, the man you see right there wearing the Demolition shirt. I am not in Demolition regalia today. I just wore one of my old T-shirts from the place that I was born at. But his name is Jeremy. What's going on, brother? You know, it's actually kind of funny if you go through my closet. Probably of all the T-shirts that I have, probably a third of them are from the Demolition. So I don't feel too terrible. You'd have to watch Demolition Ranch on YouTube to understand. So start watching Demolition Ranch. You'll get it. You'll figure it out. But a whole lot of really interesting stuff to go into today. Let's dive right into it. Lady Cara, what is the first topic we're going to go into today?
What?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry. I guess I didn't click hard enough when I unmuted you guys. It was my fault again. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say you're in good company because that movie is my husband's favorite movie. So much so that he listened to the audiobook and can't wait to listen to the sequel that was released this last year for Ready Player One.
Yeah, I had not read the book yet, and then when I heard they had the second one come out, I was like, well, now I kind of have to. I have purchased both, and now I'm excited to see a new movie for it. But yeah, this is definitely, like I said, this is definitely the same kind of genre of that. It's like they have this video game world that they all kind of spend time in. Maybe not to the degree of Ready Player One, but yeah, I mean, I don't want to. I could sit here and talk for like another fucking 20 minutes about it, but yes, I saw it and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I also thought that it was some kind of special. There are some things about this movie that really jumped out at me. One was the cameos; they were first rate. Sometimes the cameos can be kind of obnoxious. They can kind of run over what you're trying to do with the film if they're not done right. I mean, look at the Ghostbusters all girl thing. Those cameos were really forced. They were trying to steal some of that nostalgia that they knew they weren't going to get creatively, from to the original films.
Yeah.
But these cameos were all spot on from the very beginning. You've got what's his name from Magic Mike, Channing Tatum. Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum.
Yeah, you got Channing Tatum. You've got the one that really got me was Alex Trebek. I had not heard anything about
Yes.
I had not heard anything about him having a cameo in this film, And the fact that that he pops up the way he does, it's not. And I hope I'm not spoiling too much of this for Cora, but again, it's not a movie where you need to concern yourself with it. Just go watch it and enjoy
The preview looked really great, and I can't wait to see it.
But the
I'm good with being spoiled.
Yeah, the fact that he was just doing what he has done for the last million years before he unfortunately passed away, in hosting Jeopardy. And the blue shirt guy is an answer to a Jeopardy question. I hit that moment in the movie. Yes. I kind of smiled, like, in a very sad but very, very pleased way. I was just kind of like, oh,
yeah.
It was that kind of thing that touched you, especially if you're into the pop culture stuff like we are. Like the cameos were spot on, especially Chris Evans' cameo.
Actually, I forgot.
I thought that was funny as shit. What really got me is
that was fucking amazing.
He pulls the shield out of the thing to block that punch, and then you hear the Avengers theme, and I'm like, wait a minute. This movie's already pretty wild. What the fuck's about to happen now? And then he just cuts that quick cameo of his little spit take. He goes, what the shit? And it's like, that's it. That was funnier than hell.
Shit.
But yeah, the cameos were spot on, which is really, really hard to get those right. The other thing that I really liked about this, is it kind of embraces everything absurd about gaming culture. I don't know, Jeremy, if you noticed some of the background stuff. I mean, the details are really good. When she was having a conversation with Ryan Reynolds' character at one point, you can see that guy like just kind of jumping into a wall over and over and over again in the background, like he's trying to hit a glitch spot. I didn't catch it until I took Jennifer to go see it today, actually. And I saw a lot of the background stuff today that I didn't notice the first time through because I was trying to pay attention to the characters. But I mean, it's just everything, like the teabagging thing. Like when he puts the guy out who's on fire and then he hugs him and then walks away and then immediately gets shot and the guy teabags him. It's like that kind of, like I said, that just absurd behavior that is so prevalent in the gaming culture. They just
like,
embrace it and have fun with
Casey playing Fortnite with his friends.
I mean, if you could put Casey playing Fortnite
that's Halo.
with his friends in live action, it would have been something like this. If you could put any of us playing games in live action, it would come out something like this. The other thing I really loved is there is something about this movie that is the same as that was a direct comparison to Deadpool. Is that at its core, it's a love story. Same thing about the first Deadpool. It was crazy. It was eclectic. It was all over the place. It was actiony. It was a lot of swear words and sexual jokes. But at its core, it was a love story between Deadpool and Vanessa. And this one is the same thing. It's at its core the primary end game to all of this stuff was the love story that exists between two of these people that are in the film.
I will say I didn't get that vibe from the trailer at all. So that's pretty cool that it's kind of like a little Easter egg of the plot.
I will say that the movie was it telegraphed everything that was coming
really
badly, but I didn't mind it because it paid off in the end. Go ahead.
Directed it and all that jazz.
Oh God, who did direct it? It was.
I'll look it up now. I thought maybe it was somebody really cool.
I know Greg Berlanti was on. He was one of the producers. Berlanti is the one who's doing
someone named Sean Levy.
Yeah, Sean Levy. Berlanti is one of the guys. Is actually the guy who runs the entire DC Arrowverse over on CW.
Oh.
And he was one of the producers too. Go ahead, Jeremy. What were you gonna say?
Well, I find it hilarious that I'm like, wait a minute. So, are we confirming that technically? I mean, we know it's Ryan Reynolds. We don't give a shit. We know he's Deadpool. Does that mean that he's worthy? I thought he was gonna pull Mjolnir, not Hulk's arm, for a second and just bash him. But I was like, I don't give a shit. He's still whatever. So now so that makes that joke where he's like, Captain Deadpool. No, okay, just Deadpool, right? He had fun with that. And I was gonna say, well, I have Alex Trebek up there as one of the pop figures, so that's awesome.
Were there any Deadpool references in the movie?
There was a Deadpool poster in the back.
There was a guy that was gaming that he had a poster. I'm surprised he wasn't like, hey, that guy looks like Deadpool. What and you were talking about cameos, and I'm like, maybe I don't know if this is something that I noticed because being the gamer, I was like, I knew this was coming because like I follow these people on like everything, and they were talking these streamers and gamers, YouTubers that were all like, hey, I'm in this movie, or I'm gonna be in this movie. Hey, I'm with Ryan Reynolds, and I'm like, what? I'm like, you had Jacksepticeye in there, you had Pokimane in there, Laserbeam, and I don't want to say his fucking name because I hate his fucking face.
Me too.
Ninja. And then there was another guy I didn't recognize.
That's
Yeah.
how you really
I
feel.
actually said it out loud. I'm like, I'm not surprised. I knew he was gonna. I was like, he's probably gonna show up. And I saw him. And I just put my hand on my face. And went, fucking Ninja. God damn it. The guy next to me laughed. I'm like,
Do you
Yeah.
pay these people, or do they just
Yeah.
get to have fun as extras?
I'm sure they might have paid them because they had to do specific things for the movie. That was the cool thing that made it feel real, that these real streamers and YouTubers were in it, like watching it happen too. So that made it seem like this was all more like meta and more real. And I know Jacksepticeye is like, I mean, as good of friends I guess you could be with Ryan Reynolds, which is cool. Like he did a video with Ryan like 3 years prior to this, before they even did the movie. So like they're like friends, they've talked and shit. And then like I knew they met up again to do this, and then I knew Laserbeam City's like, hey, I'm a movie star now, guys. Like I know Ryan Reynolds, I'm in this movie. I'm like, okay, that's really cool. I'm like, if you're getting actual people, like from my perspective, I love that. That was really cool to see.
Now, people in the chat missed it because the audio thing, but I did mention that $28 million domestically happened for this film opening weekend. Frank, do you think it did as well if compared to without having a digital release, or better?
I don't know. It's the box office. No matter how you slice it, it's all gonna look odd for the next probably year or two. So I don't know, but whatever. That's all gonna shake itself out over the long term. You can make all the guesstimations you want. I don't know. It's hard for anybody to figure that out. I feel like it probably would have done a lot better. I mean, for one, it's Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy sells. For two, the trailers killed it. The trailers were phenomenally good.
I couldn't wait. I wanted to see it so bad, but work got in the way yesterday. And, yeah, I really want to see it. We're going to probably go see it this weekend.
Yeah, the nice thing about it is I can tell you everything that happens in this movie from start to finish, and you're still going to enjoy it when you see it, because the visuals are so fun. I mean, like, the way Ryan Reynolds drops in these stupid little things, like when he punches a guy, he turns around and looks at the girl and goes, hey, that hurt my hand. It's just the way he delivers it. It makes the subtle lines so funny, especially when you get it all kind of in the situations and stuff like that. And, you know,
is there room for a sequel?
Well, there certainly is. I mean, we'll get to that here in just a second.
Yeah.
I'll have to bring up my notes so I can talk more intelligently about that. But yeah, I mean, there's the thing is the movie by itself, it stands up. I mean, it doesn't really leave a lot open ended. It actually, now that I think about it, it was actually a pretty good closing to the story. I mean, everybody's where you feel like they should be when the credits start rolling. And now, in case you're wondering, there's no post-credit scene. They didn't go that route.
I was about to ask.
Yeah. We waited too.
Yeah, I waited the first time. I did the second time. I was like, yeah, I'm out of here. I don't want to wait if I know it's out here. I thought about.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if they gave some theaters a post-credit cut and some not, and you had to see which one you got? That could be a fun gimmick.
Sounds like exactly the kind of thing that Ryan Reynolds would have done, just to be a dick.
Right. Right.
Just to screw with us. But yeah, I mean, it was a great story from start to finish. Like I said, at its core, it's a love story, but it's not one of those ooey gooey The Notebook love stories. There's a lot here that appeals to a lot of different people, especially the majority of the movie-going public today who are really into the video games. So,
was the acting good besides Ryan?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Joe Kearney from what is it? Stranger Things is in it. It's a really well acted movie. And Taika Waititi is funny as shit.
Yes.
He is so over the top ridiculous in his characterization of this guy. I had trouble not laughing my balls at him. It's like everything he says and does is meant to be just way, way extra. And it's just so funny.
Am I a bad person for not recognizing the chick who's the supporting actor Jodie Comer from anything?
Killing Eve.
Yeah, I couldn't think of her from a lot of stuff, but I mean...
I'm looking at her Internet Movie Database resume, and I mean, besides some show called Killing Eve, I don't...
Killing Eve, yeah, I was like, that's the only thing I know her from.
I would say that this is probably the biggest thing she's done so far.
I was about to say, this is going to be her breakout role.
Yeah, this is probably going to be the thing that makes people really...
I mean, she's really beautiful. She seemed to have a good stage presence,
she's cool.
at least in the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, I mean, it's as far as a sequel, it's like, do I want one? Well, sure. This movie was fun as shit, so why wouldn't I want one? As a matter of fact, we'll get to that now. Let's see, who was it? Yeah, it was Ryan Reynolds has actually confirmed that Disney wants a Free Guy sequel. According to this article in the Hollywood...
has a contract are two different things, aren't they?
Well, yeah, contracts are weird though. You can sign someone to a 7-movie deal, and only make one movie. You know what I mean? I heard somebody talking about it earlier today because they were talking about Robert Pattinson only making $3 million for the Batman movie that's going to be coming out next year, comparing that salary to the salary of other people. And they were talking about the way that some of these things tend to work out. Take for example Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford actually signed a 3-picture deal to be in the newer Star Wars trilogy, but was only initially anyway, it was expected to be in the first one and not the second.
Do they do that to throw fans off if it ever gets leaked? Tell people to refresh. Still buffering. Wait.
Yeah. Wait.
I mean.
Uh-oh. Ah! There it is. Nope.
Well.
We are back. I just heard refresh.
Okay. I think so, yes.
So, yeah, that's...
that's
something.
And it caught me fucking scratching my armpit. That was cool.
Gotta love it.
Look, man.
Well, that's something.
What's up, y'all? Did you miss me?
That is...
We were talking about the Freeman sequel, whether it was going to go through, and talking about contracts and stuff, last I remember.
Yeah, and
last time on Dragon Ball Z.
I apologize for my internet deciding to take a shit like right then. That was not cool.
You have a fan in the chat, Jeremy. Sexy armpit scratch time.
I have several. I know that. Just know, I know where you live. I have a key, and I am coming back after this stream. You know what's coming.
Rachel, you're great. You need to come on the show again.
But anyway, now that we've gotten through that, digital fart or whatever the hell happened to my internet, yeah, it is.
I think the TVA was fucking with you again.
Yep, it's the TVA. Blame Loki.
TVA's after me now.
Fuck the timeline.
Go off to where I was scribbling. He said, while no additional information was given, 20th Century Studios, which is what Fox was and is now under Disney, retweeted Reynolds' post, and director Sean Levy shared it with the quote, "Yep." So, I would imagine that they've probably already got some treatments and are probably working on a first draft of the script if they don't already have a first draft. Let's see. Free Guy is Levy's latest action-adventure comedy, which was delayed multiple times due to the pandemic. Finally released earlier this week. $25+ million opening at the box office is what it was headed for. With a sequel, Disney may be on a path to launch a family-friendly PG-13 franchise. That was one of the other things I did notice about the film, is while there was some double entendres and some innuendo, it wasn't any worse than a lot of the stuff that Disney puts out. I could take my kids to see this and not feel afraid that they're going to get some kind of a joke like the Calendar Girl scene in Deadpool. You know what I mean?
Was it PG-13?
I believe it was. If they rated it above PG-13, I'd be shocked because there wasn't.
I'm gonna look it up.
There was no F-bombs.
Yeah.
There wasn't really a whole lot of swearing at all. There was no sexual content.
There was that one moment where like the little girls that were like gaming the first time he grabs the glasses. She was like, "Where's this and it cut off right back to them. I was like, "Yeah, you came close. That little girl just dropped an F-bomb, and she did."
You know what? I really wanted to hear it too.
I know. I was like, you get one. That would have been it.
Yeah, that scene was in one of the trailers, and they cut it off right before she says it. I was like, I really want to hear this like 11-year-old girl say, "Waste this motherfucker," because that would have been hilarious. And if you can get one, as long as it's not describing a sex act, you can say it one time.
Yes.
You get an R rating. Second time, you get an R rating, but the one time in a PG-13, you
really
get
redo those ratings at some point.
With
modern.
Maybe
they redid them back in I think it was the early '90s.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with where
Something
they're
like
at.
that.
I'm okay with where they're at. But it was actually written by Matt Lieberman and Zach Penn. So those are guys who are funny. And those guys have written for a bunch of really funny TV shows and stuff like that. Somebody actually described this as a better version of The Matrix than The Matrix, which I was just kind of like, it's funny. I don't know if I get it because The Matrix is supposed to be a different movie. It's not supposed to be a video game movie about the video game culture, but I kind of got it. You know what I mean?
I guess that's kind of what Ready Player One is. It's a meld of those two. That's why I said it's very similar in some aspects.
Yeah, but overall, I thought this movie was fun as shit. I went and saw it again today. I took Jennifer to go see it since she had the day off work, and she really liked it. And she's not even, I don't think she's played a video game other than some, like...
Is she a big Ryan Reynolds fan?
Everybody's a big Ryan Reynolds fan.
Yes, like everybody, right?
That might be a new measure of can I be friends with you? Do you like Ryan Reynolds
That
movies?
might be. I mean, good luck finding anybody who isn't a Ryan Reynolds fan anymore. But, yeah, I think overall, I thought the movie was fantastic fun. Even the second time through, I was trying to find things wrong with it that I could nitpick, and I didn't have an easy time finding anything. I mean, again, they telegraphed the stuff. I mean, they did kind of trick me. In the beginning, I thought that maybe the Ryan Reynolds character was a program, kind of like a Tron program, that Joe Kearney's character put in there to help her do what she was trying to do over the course of the movie. What Jodie Comer was trying to do over the course of the movie. I realized quickly that was false, but at the same time, I saw the love story between the two coming. But ultimately, it was just a lot of fun.
Is it a long movie or is it pretty good?
It's only about 2 hours. It's not very long.
Not bad.
Yeah.
The movie blows by. It doesn't take long at all.
Yeah.
Nice.
You could have made that movie a half hour longer, and I would have noticed. I just thought it was fun.
Yeah.
Well, who knows? They might
You're just
have
kind of along for the ride.
director's cut they release on Blu-ray.
Maybe with some deleted scenes. I don't know. But, yeah, I don't think you really need that. I just think this movie is great fun from start to finish.
Nice. Well, I look forward to seeing it this weekend. I'll have to tell you about it.
Do your own short review of it.
Maybe so.
Maybe so. That'll be fun. But, yeah, as far as a sequel, I mean, there's lots of different things you could do with it. I mean, video games, just the video game culture in and of itself is kind of an open world. There's a lot of different things you could do. I'm sure these guys are going to figure out something. They, like I said, they probably already have some ideas. Yeah. I mean, they probably already have all kinds of ideas that they could go to try to make this thing happen and make it a little bit of the same, but still original enough with the concepts just to kind of put a different story in there. I don't know. But, I mean, everybody's alive at the end of the movie, technically speaking. You know, the digital world is all there. The 2 or 3 main characters in the movie are all there. Maybe Taika Waititi's character comes back for revenge or something and turns himself into
get out of jail or something.
Turns himself into a program or some shit to go after him. Who the hell knows? I mean, there's really nothing you can't do because the whole thing is absurd anyway. So why not just go do something completely insane and have fun with it, you know? Don't take it... They didn't take it so
Maybe he'll
seriously.
take maybe he'll take Dude back and actually train him. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. Coral C.
Dude was awesome. I can't.
That's actually a skin. What's that?
The dude from The Big Lebowski, dude?
No, you'll know when you watch the movie.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
You said cameos, so you know.
No, there's a ton of cameos through this whole thing, but yeah, dude is actually a skin in Fortnite now, from what I've seen. I haven't played Fortnite in months, but it's actually a skin in Fortnite now that you can use. But yeah, I mean, that's
not even surprised.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. The movie is just fun. I mean, if you guys get a chance, go see it. Jeremy, you said you loved it, right?
Yes.
Jeremy was the.
I absolutely. I mean, yeah, yes, I absolutely loved it. And I mean, see, like Frank said, it kind of just goes. I don't know. I think maybe I need to see it again, and I would definitely see it again. I was maybe just so immersed in it, I didn't quite. Like, all right, focus on like maybe the musical score, how it did take me through the whole ride of this movie, so it felt natural. So I guess, it had to have been something done right.
Bad at least.
No, it wasn't bad. No, this was
nice.
This all around effort was awesome, and I love this movie. I'm definitely buying it too, for one thing. I would actually own this movie.
Yeah, there's a couple of pop figures I'm gonna have to go get now from this movie. So.
That's what they're called. I couldn't remember what. So before
Oh
we
yeah, those.
went live, I'm like, so Jeremy, those things you buy in the boxes, those ones you were talking about, did you
I'm
get
like,
them?
yeah,
I
those.
felt so
You mean my
stupid.
entire background? Yeah. No, yeah, I think the one I just got back there is Tomb Raider, Lara Croft, which of course because gaming, because I can't get away from that.
Mhm.
Next one, like I said, should be From They Live, and then it'll be like I said, Mobius, and then then Harley Quinn from
I just
Suicide
don't know
Squad,
why you
and
keep them
then
in the boxes. Why not just take them out?
well, no, because that
you can't do that. No.
because that's a trust me, when I just got I got two from my mom. Only one came in, and it's Johnny and Baby from Dirty Dancing, which is her favorite movie. They
Wow.
called me, and all they had was Baby, and the guy pulled. He's like, "Well, you got here first," so he pulled out two of her and said, "Well, here, just pick which one you want since you're here first." I'm like, I thought he didn't. I didn't quite hear him. I thought he meant wait. I'm like, wait, where's? What? I was like, well, who put Johnny in the corner? And I was like, he's like, yeah, just whatever box you think looks best. I was like looking at him like, I think this one's good. It's not for me, but this one's good. No, these are like the fucking next Beanie Baby. I'm telling you what, because keep them in the box to keep them fucking in good shape.
Plan on
Only
keeping
one
them. Sorry
only
for the
one
sidebar.
No, that's fine. They're, I
Does
should get
everybody keep them
protectors
in the
for all of them,
boxes?
but oh yeah, most people I know do.
Okay.
The only one that I don't wait. Oh balls! Actually, I've got more coming. I forgot the ones from GameStop. Not even just the ones on Amazon. Shit. I've got a Leatherface. I got another Batman coming, and
I was gonna say, yeah.
Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day, and I got another Ash from Evil Dead because the one I have, this is what I was gonna say, the one I have, a previous dog that lived here chewed up that box, and it pissed me the fuck off. So I have Ash, but he's just outside the box, and someone gave me a Doc Brown, but it was his from like a loot crate, and here it was already out, so that doesn't
We should
matter.
have them make a Frank one with a T-shirt Frank for 2024 for president.
Look, no, if they
I think you
made,
can get 'em
if we
special.
got big enough and they made, you can get customized ones, yeah. So you can make,
Really?
they have blank ones. You can make whoever you want, basically, yeah.
Wow.
Kind of cool. If we got big enough and someone made pop figures of all of us, I'd be tickled absolutely to death. There's a guy I watched that reviews horror movies. Him and his wife and their cat, like they're in his background now. He has each of them as a pop figure. It's really funny. It's
Frank,
really
would you
cool.
want to pop? What are they called? Pop what?
Pop figures.
Pop vinyls, pop
Yeah,
figures.
pop vinyl.
Yeah,
Pop figures? Would you want one of yourself on your shelf behind your head there?
Sure.
you gotta be vain. You gotta be a little bit vain. Come on, that's awesome.
That'd be cool, actually.
I am just enough of an asshole that I think I would enjoy something like that.
You know I
Really
would. I'd
definitely
fucking have it
want one,
right
right?
there.
I would just hold mine up here like this, right in front of my face, just talk.
Have it like on his shoulder, like, hey.
It would just be. I'll get a devil and an angel one made. I'll have one on each shoulder.
I like that.
This is the devil Frank.
Yes.
This is the angel Frank. What are we gonna do today? We're gonna do something stupid. But
I love
yeah,
it.
that's
Hi, I'm good. I'm good, Frank, and I have DirecTV, and I'm bad, Frank, and I have cable.
yeah, no doubt. But those are our thoughts on Ryan Reynolds' new movie, Free Guy. Go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys think. If you guys have had a chance to see it, if you haven't, go see it. It is a whole lot of fun. Cora, what is the next topic we have up for discussion today?
Well, Bob Chapeck. Bob Chapeck is at it again. After a highly publicized back and forth with Scarlett Johansson, the Disney CEO was quoted on an investor call saying in regards to the upcoming release of Shang-Chi, quote, "We think it's actually going to be an interesting experiment for us," end quote. The film star Simu Liu took offense to the remarks and fired back on Twitter with some gas of his own. Frank, what do you think of Chapeck's latest PR problems?
First off, I did one of the things with this subject that I tell other people they shouldn't do, and I try to keep myself from doing, but I fell into this thing anyway. I read the article and got mad. You shouldn't do that. First off, Bob Chapek is a moron. He shouldn't be running Disney. I don't understand why this guy has allowed Disney to fall into what it has been.
Have a terrible history of picking people, and Bob Eisner wasn't great either.
Bob Iger was good.
Iger.
Some things I don't agree with that Bob Iger said and did, but ultimately he was very, very smart and very shrewd about how he handled talent primarily. That's the one thing that Bob Chapek has no fucking clue what he's doing. But on
You
this,
have people that can do that. He doesn't have to do everything.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Some of the stars you're dealing with are pretty big. You don't deal with the 8th or 10th guy down the rung. If you're somebody like Robert Downey Jr., you deal with Bob Iger or somebody like him. But
Okay.
But here's the thing. I don't think that Bob Chapeck said anything wrong here. Here's the thing. And you have to understand exactly what he said. Let me go to exactly what he said real quick. He said on this investor call. Now, mind you, this was an investor call. This was not a open forum thing where he was talking to fans and everything. This is an investor call. You don't talk the same way in investor calls that you talk when you're talking to somebody from THR or Entertainment Tonight or whatever. What he said was, on Shang-Chi, we think it's actually going to be an interesting experiment for us because it's got only a 45-day window for us. The prospect of being able to take a Marvel title to the service, meaning Disney Plus, after going theatrical with 45 days will be yet another data point to inform our actions going forward on our titles. I very closely almost read that as on our titties. I don't know why my mind was going there, but I understood what he was saying.
Freudian slipped.
Yes, Freudian slip. And again, here's the thing. He was not talking about an experiment as far as anything other concerning anything else other than the very, very short theatrical window for that film. Most theatrical windows are like 90 days, sometimes a little more, or maybe a little less, give or take, depending on what you've got worked out with different places. But 90 days has kind of always been the theatrical window for new releases. Big or small, unless you're a direct DVD thing. Now, 45 days is half the time. It's half the time that movie theaters have to make money on these titles. So that's a big deal. What a lot of people... Now, what Simu Liu thought was going on is that it was some kind of a slight at the Oriental angle, which is way wrong. He way jumped the gun. Now, here's the tweet that he put up. He puts up, "We are not an experiment. We are the underdog, the underestimated. We are the ceiling breakers. We are the celebration of culture and joy that will persevere after an embattled year. We are the surprise. I am fired the fuck up to make history on September 3rd. Come join us," and with some set pictures. First off, I am also fired the fuck up to go see this on September 3rd. But
yes,
he clearly does not understand that he's not talking about that Bob Chapeck is not making some slight at him. And you can see on the right side, I pulled a couple of tweets or responses to this tweet from other people on Twitter who are pointing out to Simu Liu that he's not looking at this the right way, that he's taking it out of context. This one guy, all these 3 tweets that you can see up there, he wasn't calling you an experiment, man. He was talking about the 45 day...
made that tweet. Maybe there was a lot of people other than him feeling this way, and he's responding to a community response. You know what I'm saying?
That's not the response that he gave. Because he is directly... Obvious, if he did that, then somebody went to him and said, "Hey, Simu Liu, he said that you're an experiment." Not even that you're an experiment, because if somebody says to me, "This guy said you're an experiment," I'm going to be like, what did he mean? So either he jumped the gun and thought that it was about the whole having an Asian character leading a movie thing.
He must not want to do a sequel or work for Disney anymore.
Well, I would imagine who the hell doesn't want to work for Disney?
But why would he?
Yeah, you don't want to dig that. You don't want to dig that grave.
I would be a janitor on a set of a Disney movie, especially an MCU movie.
Right.
I wouldn't care.
I'm just saying though, but him responding this way is going to maybe not look so great.
There's 2 ways to think about it. Either somebody said, "Hey, Bob Chapeck said this," and he jumped the gun without really asking why or what he meant or trying to find context. Or somebody went to him and said, "Hey, he said this, he meant this," and flat out lied to him, which led to this response. Either which way, he kind of jumps the gun with this tweet by saying that it was in one context, even though it was obviously meant by something else. And you can tell by these tweets right here. I mean, this one guy, "Are you making something about race here?" His statement was about the 45-day window. The other guy, "Pretty sure the comment was about the way it's being released, 45 days in theater only, then it becomes available on Disney Plus, and not the subject or ethnicities involved in the film." So, if you actually go back and look and pay attention to what Chapeck actually said, then you too understand that he was talking about the theatrical window. But again, we're in this culture to where we read the headline, we don't read the story. So, I did it too. I made that mistake at first, and I started to get a little bit hot. A, because it wasn't a good... If he did mean that, it wasn't a good thing to say. And 2, because I just don't like Bob Chapeck as a whole. But if you go back and actually listen to what he said, and read the quotes. Again, it's right here. He's talking very simply about the theatrical window. He's not saying, oh, look, we have some Asian character and then does an Asian voice and then pulls his eyes back slanted and starts making fun of Asians. He doesn't do anything like that. He very specifically said, it's an interesting experiment for us
not about
because of the 45-day window. Yeah, I just think it's one of those moments where Simu Liu was trying to... I don't know. Maybe he's trying to build his star in Hollywood a little bit by doing what so many people in Hollywood do.
Compared to the Scarlett Johansson contract stuff, no one's really going to care about this, I don't think, what he said.
Well, it sounds like he wants people to care about it because it sounded like he was making it a racial thing when it's clearly not. Bob Chapeck said absolutely nothing wrong here. Now, he didn't say it very eloquently. He pulled a Donald Trump here. He was making a good point, but he bumbled through it. He says right there, it's an interesting experiment for us because it's got only a 45-day window. Now, here's one of the big differences between Bob Chapeck and Bob Iger and how they handle situations like this. Is Bob Iger would have gone out there and been very excited about the movie, saying, yes, we've got this great movie coming out with this great young Asian actor. I've seen the film a couple of times. It looks great. It's tracking great. We're going to kick ass. And he really went out there and was rah-rah, really, really pitching these movies in public. Bob Chapeck doesn't do that. He's very dry. He doesn't know how to get himself excited about the stuff that's coming up.
And he shouldn't be the face of the company and the person who talks, because you have to be good out in front if you're going to be the one in front. You know what I'm saying?
I agree, but that's not up to us. That's up to
else
Disney. And when you're the CEO of Disney, you're going to be in front of every camera that exists.
But can't
as soon
he
as you
hire
walk
a
into your office.
spokesperson?
What's that?
Can't he just hire a spokesperson?
They've probably got 500 spokespeople, but you need the CEO out there talking about Disney stuff. Disney's too big of a company for you to send some.
Well, you'd be a great spokesperson, I think.
But you see, I would approach things like Bob Iger would. I would go out there and say, you know what, this is fantastic, this is great, this movie's a kick-ass, Simu Liu's fantastic. I'm going to try to sell it. Whereas Bob Chapeck's just like, he's just kind of dry. He's like, oh yeah, it's going to be really cool, this 45-day window. Because he's right. It is a very important data point for how they're releasing movies now. Because, the pandemic has made all these studios look at the process of releasing the pictures. How can you make money off of it even in tough times? How can you, how is it going to affect things moving forward even without worrying about some kind of a virus running around? So they do need this data point to figure out how they're going to roll out movies from here on out. And so I agree with everything he said. But he didn't really say it in the right way. He was just kind of like, meh, I'm just some pencil-pushing CEO. I don't really know how to handle the public stuff.
Do you think he's hoping that what he says to an investor group at an investor meeting isn't going to become a headline? That he thinks it's a business thing, this isn't a PR thing?
Well, like I said, it was an investor call. It wasn't something that look, there are so many investor calls.
Maybe people shouldn't play into it too much.
Yeah,
because it's really not meant as a public. It's not meant as a statement to the press. It was literally a private meeting for the investors, which people happen to have access to the transcripts for.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And a lot of these investor calls, they happen actually a lot. They happen probably a couple times a week. Maybe not all the investors are on there, because who the hell knows who actually owns stock in Disney? How many people actually do, rather? But there are some investor calls all the time, and very rarely does any of that shit come out, unless of course somebody says something incredibly stupid, like CEO of Papa John's a couple years ago with the whole thing with the N-word and all that.
That was taken out of context, by the way.
I think so too, but he still said it, which he shouldn't have, which was dumb. But similar thing here, even though it wasn't supposed to be publicly out for public assimilation, he's still just kind of the way he said it wasn't very good. And then, of course, somebody gets a hold of it. They take it to Simu Liu, who takes offense to it for whatever reason, and then makes it out like, oh, he thinks I'm just some experiment. No, he said very specifically the 45-day window. There's no bones about what he meant in this. So
he could have meant that about any Disney product, by the way. It was about the distribution, not the product itself.
Well, specifically, though, he talks about Shang-Chi, so he could have said this about anything else and probably wouldn't have made any noise. But he said it about this Asian-led movie that is going to be very, very big and very, very important. And because of that, somebody probably who was on probably one of the people on the investor call, probably one of the investors, decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and just leak this out to whoever, and then it's going to get back to Simu Liu, and then it's going to become a thing that it really doesn't need to be. Bob Chapeck didn't mean any harm by any of this. Jeremy, do you have any thoughts on Bob Chapeck, once again, kind of putting his, not his whole foot, but at least 2 of his toes in his mouth?
I don't hear anything, do you?
It's a good way to fucking put it. What?
What do you think about what he said?
I was
at the investor
laughing.
meeting?
Yeah, he was laughing. That's why it took me a minute to respond.
Oh. Yeah, 2 toes in the mouth. That's funny. Hey, different strokes for different folks, man. Whatever you do. Not the foot fetish joke. I'm not talking about. I don't know. It seems like we're not talking about this right now. It seems like it's maybe I don't know. Maybe something not necessarily taken out of context, but it seems like okay, you may have gone a little far with that, dude. It's not all about that. Like, I've been on the internet long enough, and I've argued with fucking idiots. I'm like, I talk about this, and they're immediately it has nothing to do with it. They're like, oh, it's about race, isn't it? I'm like, what? No. What the fuck are you talking about? And they just go on and on about it. And I'm like, all right, well, I can't talk to you, so. You know what I mean? I've had stupid shit like that happen. Like you just blow it out of proportion, and make it all about like if it happens to be your race or not, or someone else's that you're apparently just sticking up for, because whatever. That was a really weird rant. I'm just saying I've been there, and it's just dumb. And maybe the other guy isn't so great either, but I mean, I don't think as awful as he may be, it's like I don't think that was even the fucking intention. So. You both just need to chill your titties, all right?
I mean, unless he's saying this like across the board and saying other comments that tie
Stick some
into
toes in
his
your mouth.
guys'
You might feel better. I
reaction
don't
to
know.
it, I don't think this is of concern. I mean, give a guy a chance to, yeah.
It's like we know this movie's gonna be. I mean, I know Frank as well. I was like, I'm fucking pumped for this. I'm like, I want to see this. This is gonna look badass as shit. And I'm like, yeah, but given that I mean, also with the whole, for a minute there, it was like, oh, now we're targeting people of an Asian descent or race, and I'm like, oh shit. Well, this is not good. Maybe it stems from that, and I'm like, look, basically, if you want to make some noise, man. But I'm like, I don't think that was the fucking intention. All right, Joe.
People need to get over it and focus on the movie itself, I think.
Well, I think that's.
I'm like, we know this is gonna be awesome. We have no doubts about it, man. Like, just it's not what you think, man. Chill.
Yeah, one of the things that I think is a possibility is that, look, Disney's been accused of doing this a lot, is that maybe this whole thing was kind of orchestrated.
Oh.
It's not...
Maybe.
Disney's been accused of doing stuff like this a whole lot of times. So maybe...
It's always in the back of my mind.
Yeah, so maybe this investor call's coming up. Because, Bob Iger is still on the board for Disney. He is still chairman of the board, just not the CEO. So maybe Bob Iger looked at Bob Chapek one day while they were having, whatever, $12 million lunch at Spago's in L.A., and he's like, you know what? One of the things that we did back to boost up this movie is we had some little internal strife, blah, blah, blah. And they came up with this idea of, oh, you've got an investor call coming up. Why don't you say this on the investor call? We'll have Simu Liu go on Twitter and react to what you said, and that's just going to generate more buzz for the movie.
If that ever came out, there would be so much hate for using race baiting, not race baiting, but race conflict baiting as a PR stunt.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the idea that it's possible, but I mean, Disney's...
No, I hear you, though.
Disney's been accused of doing exactly this kind of thing before, so I wouldn't be entirely surprised. Oh. But at the same time, I think it's probably more likely that Simu Liu probably just jumped the gun on this thing, or somebody flat out lied to him and said, hey, he said this about you being Asian and this being an Asian-led movie. And
yeah,
and just kind of went on some bad advice. If that's the case, I really hope he comes clean and says, you know what, somebody told me something else. I take back, like, I do still have faith in the movie, but I'm not mad at Bob Chapeck. We've squashed our shit. He explained to me what he said, what he meant, that it wasn't anything about me being Asian or Asian-led characters, that it was all about this 45-day theatrical window. And now everything's cool. This movie opens up in, 3 weeks? We're doing good. We're ready to go. Let's go do this. And if that comes out, then fine. But if he does, at least I would anyway. I would come out and say, hey man, I kind of jumped the gun when I heard about this shit. Whatever, my bad. Let's move past it and just go get ready for this movie to come out so we can kill it.
Stay in your lane. Don't worry about shit I talk about in an investor meeting. It's not a press release.
Yeah, but movie stars, they're so influential these days.
Look.
They have to be in the shit.
Here's my thing. Also, this is coming from not just a movie's standpoint, from a gaming standpoint too. I'm of the opinion that I would say even within the last 5 years or so, I don't think there's such a thing as leaks anymore. Like, oh no, accidental, there it is.
Oh, I agree.
I'm like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, I don't think it just, oh shit. I'm like, there's a lot of accidental leaks going on all the damn time about stuff, and I'm like, well, you could just call it that, and that could be your.
But my Bachelor show.
That could be.
There's a big controversy right now because there's a quote leak that came out of who the next Bachelor is going to be, who happens to be the most contentious person right now, and is getting a lot of headlines and stirring the pot. And so a lot of people are saying, is it possible they're just leaking it to get attention to the show, and they're going to somebody else?
Because that gets you talking about it. That gets the conversation going. I'm sorry for everyone having to look at my chest right now. I'm trying to plug in my computer. But yeah, no, I don't ever really believe it's that, or it's like, oh, some employee that used to work for this game company is like, oh, look at this. I'm like, oh, well, either you got fired or you're going to get fired now. But like, I think that's unfortunate. You know what I mean? I think that's unfortunately just maybe a tactic that I'm like, I don't think any of us buy that shit anymore. It's not 2007. We don't fucking just be like, oh my god, did you see the new fucking Call of Duty? Shit.
Don't they all have to sign NDAs anymore? So what we think is a leak probably has to be staged, so people don't get in trouble contractually.
Well, look, you don't have to go too far to see the leaks. An example of how it's done. You don't have to go that far. Go to freaking the kid that plays Spider-Man. All the things that he's leaked. No, he. Everybody says, "Oh no, you need to keep him quiet. He always leaks all this stuff." Fuck you if you believe that. Honestly, that has all been completely like when they announced what the subtitle was for the last Spider-Man movie, Far From Home. It was a big deal that he goes that he no, it was Far From Home before Far From Home came out.
Okay.
He jumps up on on like an Instagram or a tweet or something like that, and holds up his iPad. He goes, "Hey, they just sent me the script for the new Spider-Man movie."
Yeah.
And it says on there, "Spider-Man Far From Home." And everybody was like, "Oh my god, he just accidentally leaked something else." I'm like, "No, he didn't. That shit was orchestrated. It's always orchestrated. That's why they make it such a big deal whenever he spits out one little teeny tiny bit of information. It's all orchestrated." That's why people think that everything they fucking do at Disney is always intentional. That this kind of shit is always just overblown to get attention.
You gotta appreciate the memes though. They were like, you know why there's no trailer for Spider-Man? You know why there's no spoilers? And someone like photoshopped like Tom Holland's head. He's like strapped to a chair and like chained down and roped to it and shit with his mouth duct tape. I'm like, yeah.
Do you think
that's why.
What Vince McMahon recently did to, I know I'm not trying to talk wrestling per se, but it's a business model. So basically Vince McMahon in the last 6 months, I think he made it so that contractually any of the people who work for WWE can't post things on social media without approval from the company. Do you think we're going to get to a point where the companies just control social media of the stars?
I think they kind of already do.
Contractually?
That's kind of what NDAs are. I mean, if you're in the new Marvel movie, you can't finish your first day of filming and then say, "Oh my god, I just finished my first day of filming in this place for this role, and I talked, this was my dialogue." You can't just go spit that kind of shit out. So they kind of do. But I mean,
like actually using it as like a puppet kind of thing. Like people don't realize that the studios are running these accounts.
You're not really a puppet because it behooves you as an actor to keep things quiet too. Because if you start giving away too much of what happens in your Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, there might be less people that go see it. You don't really want to spoil anything. So,
Right.
I mean, as an actor, you don't want too much shit getting out either, because you want people to go see the movie so that you get bigger box office and you can ask for more money in your next film. So, I don't think it's really a matter of forcing. I mean, it behooves both the production company and the actor to make sure that not the big news anyway doesn't get out. Now, sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes there are legitimate leaks, and there have been some big ones throughout history for the motion picture industry. But
well, they did. Who was it? Mark Ruffalo. They did that motherfucker dirty. Because I'm like, you guys didn't have to. I mean, even if he really did just slip there, and Don Cheadle was like, dude, what the fuck, man? I'm like, you could have just not released that. You sat there and filmed it, and then he was like, oh shit. I'm like, yeah, you could have just not. I mean, I don't know. Does that seem? Maybe they were like, oh, whoops, he slipped. I'm like, yeah, you could have just not put that out there.
now there might have been some times where someone slips, and then a company like Disney will be like, oh yeah, that was totally planned, even though it probably wasn't, because it's easier to save face afterwards than it is to say, oh, he wasn't supposed to say that. Because you don't want to punish somebody like Robert Downey Jr. for accidentally revealing that Iron Man dies at the end of Endgame. You don't want to punish him for that, because you're like, shit, we might want him back. We want the movie to sell. It's going to be press anyway, so whatever. Especially depending on when it comes out. If it comes out the day before, then who fucking cares? I mean, there's nothing you can do about it anyway. But anyway, those are just my thoughts. But I don't know. Let us know what you guys think about Bob Chapeck and him putting 2 or 3 toes in his mouth again, rather than the entire foot. Again, I don't think he said anything wrong, and I'm somebody who doesn't like Bob Chapeck. So go down the chat. Go down the chat or in the comments below. Let us know what you guys think. Cora, what's the next thing we're going to be talking about tonight?
Next, let's see here. Well, Johnny Depp now thinks he is being boycotted by Hollywood. In a new interview with the Sunday Times, Depp discussed the, quote, surreal 5 years and, quote, he has experienced during his fallout from the Hollywood community. Jeremy, what do you think of Depp's comments?
I really wish you hadn't asked me when I was texting. I heard you. Basically, that Johnny just thinks that now he's kind of getting the even shorter end of the stick, which would be.
Let's blame Amber Heard for this in the first place.
Look, all right, I don't like her either, and I know everyone's like, oh, well, they were both bad. I'm like, I'm sure it wasn't a fucking straight up one-sided thing. I'm sure there's retaliation. I'm sure fucking. I've been in that.
Was fighting for Johnny Depp in court. I mean,
look. I'm just saying, I've been in that situation. I'm like, I'm not a bad person, but like, I will have a threshold, and then I almost quoted Pulp Fiction. Look, man, I got a threshold. He got me in the red. I'm just saying, it's fucking dangerous when you got a car in the red. I could blow. Like, yeah, but it does just seem like it all kind of just threw Johnny the middle finger, and I'm kind of like, yeah, well, I had this discussion. God damn it, here come the fuck. Anyway, sorry. It seems like
doing good?
No, I'm just like, well, they're messaging. I got a Facebook. That's the work Facebook group can fucking wait. I'm trying to look at my mom's thing and then look at something with Rachel. I'm trying to do shit. What was I? Because me and a friend had this discussion. About this kind of ties into it, that I think it was the producers. I don't want to say it was the director. Of the next Aquaman movie are like, they're standing their ground saying like, no, we're not going to get rid of Amber Heard amidst all this fan pressure and shit. And I'm like, okay, so you're going to just stand by her and just, because I'm like,
Johnny anymore.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, you're just going to keep her in that movie because, I mean, God forbid we fuck up any kind of continuity, right? I mean, not saying that I think what they said, Mads Mikkelsen?
Any other beautiful blondes in Hollywood who can do the role.
Well, her character is redheaded, but fucking throw a wig on her. I don't give a fuck. You're right. No, yeah. So it's not like you can't replace the character. I'm like, look, we did that with Hulk. I mean, we did that from.
Maybe they're scared of her suing them because why they fired
fuck she
her.
Gonna. Well, I'm like, well, what are you gonna lose? You know, this is a kind of a big sign that, hey, look, she's not. She's not a good person. She didn't fucking win this thing, and now you have to prove that you donated all that money to fucking wherever.
I'm disgusted how.
But I'm like, my friend said that like they said that they tried to get rid of her. I'm like, well, the producers sticking up for her doesn't sound like they tried very fucking hard. That seems like that's where they stand on this. And I'm like, that's dumb as fuck. Why? And then I'm like, and then we're just gonna throw Johnny out of Fantastic Beasts and whatever the fuck else he wants to do. I'm like, did he not win this case? That's fuck.
Oh, he did, and he was proven that he was defamed greatly, and it damaged his career. I mean, he's
Yeah.
gonna have to sue her.
It's a little unfair. I don't even know about all that. Like, it's just like, man, a lot of.
I
This
think
is,
he could come back.
this is the,
I mean, don't you think he could come back and just get working again and bounce back? I think he could.
I'm not saying anyone can't do that. Like I said, prime example, Robert Downey Jr. I mean, look at him, man. He fucking. We all
Amen.
thought, whoa, this dude's gonna play Iron Man. Holy shit! And then it's like that turned out to be the greatest damn thing ever. Dude is a great success story. I fucking like he's not just a hero, a superhero, but he's a fucking hero.
Yep.
I mean, this isn't nearly as bad, but I'm like, and look, we all love Johnny. Like this is, if there's like the internet daddies, fucking Johnny Depp is one of them. Like Brendan Fraser, you got fucking the guy who plays Mandalorian. I'm fucking blanking on his name right now. You got him.
Don't know his name, to be honest.
Pedro Pascal. I got it. I was like zoning out. Sorry. I got it. Like, you know, we're here for you guys, and we believe you all the way. And it's just a sore spot with me when people fucking sit here and just we're convicting people off accusations. I'm like, okay, hold on, pump the brakes, hold on, look into this first. Fucking don't
Even
just.
in the private industry, you don't automatically get fired. You get put on just kind of like temporary administrative leave, until accusations are investigated.
Yeah, that's what made me so mad about what happened to Chris Hardwick. It was the same deal. Like I'm like, this doesn't already raise a red flag. It was his ex-girlfriend who made all these accusations against him. And I'm like, I think at that point he had been married maybe a year. Like he had just gotten married to his wife, his current wife. And I'm like, I mean, look, I don't want to judge, but I saw a picture of like Chris Hardwick and this ex-girlfriend together, and I'm like, that woman looks like a bitch straight up. I'm like, that's not even resting bitch. She looks like a jealous bitch. And I'm like, that's what this sounds like. I'm like, this sounds like someone who's just throwing shit at him. And this is so sad because Nerdist, which is like one of the biggest things that fucking on the internet, you want to talk about video games, you want to talk about comic book shit. That's his company that he started. He gave all these people jobs. They all work for him. They all fucking do little news bits and shit about the entertainment world.
Was he redeemed? I don't know the story. I'll be honest.
Yes, I mean, like, but I'm saying they fucking cut him out like that fast, and I'm like, whoa. And they're all like, oh, we don't. I don't know, because I'm like, you had to had a really awkward back paddle on that, because here's the thing: when they went to the ex-girlfriend and asked her to, because they always ask, okay, can you cooperate with this investigation?
Yeah.
Suddenly she was radio silent as fuck. I'm like, well, there's your red fucking flag.
Yep.
Hello? God, I
probably
fucking
had no proof.
No, and I'm like, why don't we ask dude's wife about all these domestic abuse charge or accusations, all this other bullshit? I'm like, I'm like,
one step up because he went to court and he was proven innocent.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to believe these people are that way either. I'm like, well, I want to give people the benefit of the doubt, but I'm like, I'm not saying anyone's perfect. I was looking at Chris Hardwick and I'm like, I don't think, because he also does Talking Dead, and the problem was he got kicked off that show too. And for a week they had a guest host, which, I mean, who else better than Yvette Nicole Brown, because she's really into that show and they're real good friends. But he came back like the next week. It was finally all, like I said, it was all taken care of pretty fast. And I mean, I actually even cried a little bit. He was really emotional. He got on, like, he sat in the chair and he like just kind of talked to the audience and to all of us and was like, I appreciate you guys, and I don't want to get too into it, but like, I appreciate you guys all standing by me, and the support's been amazing. I'm like,
when that happens to you, you are a victim of false accusations and character slander.
And then nothing happens to the accuser, because that's what pisses me off. I'm like, look, if you're gonna do that, you're found giving false accusations, slap that person with the sentence of what the accused would have gotten, and see how fast that fucking shit stops. I'm just saying.
I mean, if Johnny Depp was if he was just starting out, his career might have died, but he's been so big for so many years.
Can't get rid of Johnny.
Bet you anything he will bounce back from this. It sucks ass that for the last 5 years his life has been, dumpster fire.
Hell.
But, I think he will bounce back, and if anything, I think he'll come back pretty strong.
Yeah, it's not a good time when something like that happens. I'm
He's got to have renewed vigor to want to like kick ass and take names with some
yeah,
jobs.
I'm because I'm even a little bit afraid. Like maybe just it may just seem a little paranoid, but even at work, I'm afraid because this is that it seems like too much of a power in I'm gonna say it. I'm sorry, but in a female's hands. That you could just say
No, you're
anything to
no.
anyone,
You
and
don't have to apologize because the shift of accusations being treated as if it's a conviction
yeah.
is biased and unfair and unbalanced.
Now I know this isn't. There are people listening and watching. I'm like, no, before you fucking say anything and bite my head off, I'm saying yes. I mean, anyone, male or female, whatever
Mm-hmm.
you are, I don't care. Yes, you should believe them, and that's what I'm saying. You should take this shit seriously. That's the
And
point.
investigate it and look at it.
Follow it through exactly. And I'm like, but the problem is you don't. I'm like, I know it's an emotional thing. You get heated and you're like, oh shit. I'm like, no. I'm like, yeah, but calm down. Let's fucking look into
Mm-hmm.
this, please. I'm just saying, there was, like I said, there was some girl at work that did that to a fucking supervisor. He was just mysteriously gone for a while, and I'm like, he just fucking say something you didn't like, and then you were just like, oh, I'm gonna fuck this guy up. I'm afraid to even like talk to this person. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, that's really the length that you just fucking went to. Like, if you're willing to do that, I'm like, I'm afraid to even talk to you because if I say one wrong thing, and I swear to God, if I get fired or some stupid
And can
shit.
you imagine Johnny Depp? He probably didn't want to talk to anybody because of his public figure status. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's still a little harder, man. You can't really just.
yeah. Frank, do you think he'll come back full bore? I think he will.
I think it depends on his behavior. I mean,
Okay.
we all
Fair.
love comeback stories. It's like, if you're a football fan, Michael Vick. I mean, he did something
Yeah.
pretty terrible, and the dog fighting and killing dogs and stuff like that. He was allowed to come back, and there were some people that were upset about it. There were some people that that liked the fact that he was getting a second chance. He made, I think, the best he could of his second chance. He's not going to end up in the Hall of Fame now, but I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he definitely used his comeback wisely, and since then he's managed to keep his nose clean. He's done things to show people he's changed. A lot of actors have gotten second chances. I mean, Nick Nolte's had what, 3 or 4 of them. He's fought alcoholism
Yeah.
and drug use. Who else am I thinking of?
Tim Allen was in prison for
Tim
Yeah,
Allen.
selling
Yeah.
drugs,
yeah.
and he came
Gary
back.
Busey has been psychotic for most of the last 20 or 30 years. But
Mm-hmm.
somehow he
Yeah.
ends up in a big movie once every 10 or 15 years, and he kills it, and then he slips again. But I mean, he gets his
Yeah.
chances. So we all, especially Hollywood, love the comeback movie. The problem is he's got to behave like he wants it, and he's got to use it once he does get it. Now, could he take advantage of it? Fuck yeah, he's Johnny Depp. He's been in all kinds of huge movies. But one of the things you got to realize is Johnny Depp's his movies are not all big time. Let's look at some of his stuff real quick. So I
Except
pulled up.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, I pulled up
Yeah.
on thenumbers.com all of Johnny Depp's acting credits. If you look at the body of his work, yeah, he's made a ton and a half of money. But look at his last 1, 2, 3, 4 movies. 3 of them weren't even released in the U.S. One of them
Okay.
hasn't been released yet. The Minamata hasn't come out yet. But at least not in the U.S. anyway. It's been released in Europe and the U.K. But I mean, then he does like Fantastic Beasts, and yeah, that made $651 million. But it wasn't his movie. He didn't carry it. He was very much a supporting actor.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Sherlock Gnomes, a kids movie. Those things do well, and he does well in the kids movies. Murder in the Orient Express. Yeah, $351 million. That's not a bad haul, but he was in an ensemble then. He didn't carry the movie. There was a lot of big name actors in that movie. Then you go to the Pirates of the Caribbean. Those movies have made money hand over fist anyway. Yoga Hosers. Me and Jeremy love that movie and love him in that movie. But
I've never even heard of it.
it's a Kevin Smith thing. It's a Kevin Smith.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then Alice Through the Looking Glass. Yeah, $276 million, which really isn't a whole lot of money compared to some of the stuff his other stuff makes. He did.
He was
carry that movie.
he was also weirdly in Tusk, another Kevin Smith.
Yeah, that's down here actually.
Yeah,
But yeah, Black Mass, which I'm not gonna lie, is a really really good movie, and he's really really good in it. But that movie didn't even make $100 million, and that was one of the really artsy, true story kind of movies that he was really really good at. And that movie didn't make a lot of money. Mordecai was a train wreck. I did not talk to one person who actually liked that movie. And yeah,
What about
it seems
Lone
like
Ranger?
Lone Ranger right there, 260 million. And again, it was a movie a lot of people didn't like. Now, granted, he was just a co-star. He didn't carry that movie. Armie Hammer did. He was the main star. But still, I mean, if you look at all these lists of movies, I mean, it's basically the big money movies are Pirates of the Caribbean, and that's it. That is it.
Wasn't he pretty big? I mean,
Edward
didn't he
Scissorhands.
didn't his career take off from that TV show or that movie about cops? I feel
21
so
Jump
stupid.
Street.
21
Yeah,
Jump Street.
Yeah.
But his big break in movies was Nightmare on Elm Street, obviously.
Nightmare on
It came
Elm
out back
Street.
in the 1980s.
Oh, I've never seen those because I hate horror movies.
But he, yeah, and Donnie Brasco,
a good movie.
a good movie, but then again, it came out at a time where movies didn't make $1 billion. So I mean, Donnie Brasco made 65 million. That's not bad. But a lot of his stuff, it's
the Willy Wonka movie.
Terrible, terrible. There it is, right there. 475 million, and I think a lot of that movie sold simply because it was a Tim Burton movie. I don't think they were there for him.
Well, and it's the IP. It's Willy Wonka. You're like, ooh, cool, and you're like, nah.
But again, I mean, if you look at some of these movies, the ones that really hit it big, I mean, like really, really big, it's all Pirates of the Caribbean. After that, nothing he does makes a significant amount of money. So
what about Rango?
Yeah, but again, it's a kids movie. Whereas
but
right here, 245 million. That's 2011, not dealing with a pandemic, when all these movies are the rage anyway. The Pixar kind of stuff is all the rage. It still only made 245 million worldwide, 123 million domestically. I don't know that Johnny Depp has ever been that kind of a draw that he's always been put out to be. I mean, because seriously, the biggest movies, what are they? Let's go to worldwide box office. Pirates of the Caribbean, Pirates of the Caribbean, Alice in Wonderland, Pirates of the Caribbean, Pirates of the Caribbean, Pirates of the Caribbean. Those are the only movies he's carried on his own. Everything else that's made a lot of money, Fantastic Beasts, he's not the main star. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, he is. Murder on the Orient Express, again, he's part of a ensemble. He's not the main star. Alice Look Tourist, I'm actually surprised that movie that much money. I didn't know anybody that saw it that said it was actually any
What
good.
about the Blow with Angelina Jolie? I mean,
that was a great movie.
It's a good movie.
A lot of people didn't watch it though.
That wasn't Angelina Jolie. That was oh shit, I'm drunk.
She's
Are you sure?
Latin American.
No,
Wait.
Blow was God damn, I'm drawing a blank. One of the Hispanic girls, I forget who. But But yeah, Blow was a very good movie. It's one of my favorite Johnny Depp movies. But again, that movie came out in 2001 and only made 83 million. It's a great movie, don't get me wrong. But I mean, if you look at all the big money.
Oh, fucking Penelope Cruz. I'm so sorry. Yes.
Penelope Cruz. But I mean, all of his big money movies, they're all Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates.
Those have been his biggest money makers. After that, none of his stuff makes that level of money. It's all in a decent kind of range. I mean, I wouldn't be mad if I made a movie that made $153 million. But
it's not like he doesn't still dress up as fucking Jack Sparrow and go to like children's hospitals and just be Jack Sparrow. I'm like, he fucking loves that character. He loves doing that shit. It's not like he doesn't, like doing it.
And I greatly respect that, but I don't know that he's the bankable star that everybody thinks he is.
He's going to be typecast for the rest of his career being a fucking pirate.
Well, no.
But that's the thing. It's like, can you really say he's being blackballed when all of the bean counters in Hollywood are looking at the numbers that you can see on the screen right now and saying to themselves, well, if he's not putting on a pirate's hat and in a Disney movie and walking around all weird and saying weird things to Orlando Bloom's character, how much money does he really make us? Does he make us enough money that we can look past all the personal stuff and say, oh yeah, we're going to go ahead and put you in this movie that's going to cost us $150 or $200 million to make, not knowing if it's going to chase away a lot of people that we need to pay for these tickets.
And hasn't he been pretty busy with all the court trials in these recent years? Yeah. Did he even have time to make a movie?
Has that ever stopped anybody from making a movie? It's like
Amber's out here still making movies.
Yeah.
Dumb bitch.
Yeah, Amber Heard's wrapped up in the exact same stuff he's in, literally, and she's still out there getting her groove on. So I don't imagine that Johnny Depp's going to have that much trouble. It's just a matter of wanting to do it. I mean, throughout all this, he made that movie Minamata, which is I've heard is an interesting story, and I've heard some people in Europe say that they've seen it, and it's actually it's a very interesting character-driven story. So when it comes out, I'll give it a look. But I mean, it's not going to be up here. It's not going to be Pirates of the Caribbean level. That's what I'm saying. I mean, if you look at these right here, it's like, great, he makes a bunch of money. And it's a real quick drop-off to those very average box office takes.
I still think he could have another couple good big, box office hits in him if he found the right projects, though.
Oh, he very easily could. But the problem is he thinks that he's being blackballed when ultimately ultimately, the people that run these Hollywood productions are looking at it and saying, well, we're going to spend a whole lot of money. He's going to want a whole lot of money in salary. We don't know if his movie is going to make enough to where this movie is going to be profitable anyway. How do we balance those things out? I mean, looks like I'm totally fine with him saying, well, we're not going to cast Johnny Depp or go after him until this whole legal thing with Amber Heard goes away. When this whole legal thing with Amber Heard goes away and it's figured itself out one way or another, we'll let some time pass. Then we'll go to him and say, hey, we've got this project we think you're good for. And if he wants to do it, great. But I'm not gonna convict publicly any studio that wants to work with him. He's got talent. I'm not gonna tell you he doesn't. But again, look at these numbers. You can see them all right here. There's a very significant drop off between the first movie and the 10th movie. That is significant. I mean, you're talking about $750 million difference. That's a lot of money. So do you really think you're going to make a movie like an MCU movie where you're going to spend $250 million on it? Especially now, considering the box office, like I said earlier, is going to be so shaky for the next year and a half or 2 years anyway. I mean, are you really going to offer this guy what he wants to make, what he feels he deserves, for a movie that, if you're lucky, will break even?
Well, what if he offered to say, you know what, I know I'm kind of a PR nightmare a little bit. I'm willing to take a pay cut if you give me the job.
If that's something that he works out with the studio, then fine. I'm all for it. But and what are the odds that Johnny Depp's going to go in there and say, you know what? I need a little bit of a break here. I just need to get back into acting. I'll do this movie for $1 million. I don't think he would. I think he's far too arrogant for that. I mean, far too arrogant. So. Robert Downey Jr. was an exception. I mean, he had his stuff going on for a long time, and it's everybody knows about what was going on with him, and he gets a chance to go do Iron Man, and so Iron Man comes up. I don't think anybody knew what the MCU was going to become at that point. But it obviously blows up and becomes this huge thing. He keeps himself clean. He's been very humble about the whole thing ever since the MCU started. He's been a fantastic sport about everything. It's all worked out great. I don't see Johnny Depp doing that. I think he's far too arrogant. He's far too full of himself.
And it probably depends on how much money he has and how expensive his lifestyle is, because he may not even want to work until he starts running out.
You really want to wait till you start running out of money before you go back to work? It's like... And again, the first couple of things he has to do, that he's going to do after all this blows over, he's going to have to do it on the cheap. Nobody's going to pay this guy $30 million to make a movie right now. His next time out, he's going to be lucky to make one or two. I mean, he's going to be lucky to make one or two. I mean, one of his movies that he did recently only did $700 and something thousand at the worldwide box office.
Jesus.
Wow. They spend that much on his personal trailer. It's like... There's no way that anybody's going to give him that kind of money to go out there and just walk around and do this thing all the time and act like Keith Richards from Rolling Stones. So is he really? So I mean, that's what I'm saying through this whole thing is he being blackballed, or are they just backing way off of him right now until he comes to this conclusion on his own that he needs to kind of alter the way that he looks at life?
Maybe it's just something they don't want to touch right now because, it's not...
Horror project you're doing, would you cast him?
No.
See, that says something.
No.
Well, I don't think we could even try to afford Johnny Depp, but yeah.
Even if he wanted to take a massive pay cut just to do a horror short, it's like he would still come in. I don't want anybody on the set acting like Johnny Depp. It's like I don't want him getting mad because there's blue M&Ms in his bowl of M&Ms in his trailer. It's like look, those stories don't come out of nowhere. Those things are true. They've actually happened. And Johnny Depp is where those stories come from. Guys like him anyway. Maybe not him specifically, but guys like him. But I mean, like the question is he being blackballed? I don't think he is. Or are people just standing way back off him right now and just saying, you know what? Before we even talk to him, we're going to let this play out. We're going to let the dust settle. We're going to make sure that we're a couple of years past all this nonsense, and maybe we'll go to him and say, hey, we've got this project we're interested in. We'd like you for it. What do you think about giving it a go? And then the ball's going to be in his court. Is he going to be humbled by his experiences to say, you know what, I'm just going to dip my toe in the water. I'm just getting real slow. I'm just going to do this. Find my joy for acting again, just being on the set again and just doing all this? Or is he going to say, oh, well, I want $25 million to do this, independent picture that's got a, $1 million budget or something like that? If he does that and decides to turn into his asshole self, then good luck. You have to go back and watch old episodes of 21 Jump Street to get the good Johnny Depp.
Agreed.
But I leave it all up to you guys in the chat and the comments below. Let us know what you guys think. Is Johnny Depp being blackballed by Hollywood, or is he a victim of his own arrogance? I think it's the latter. But you guys let us know what you think in the comments below.
Mm-hmm.
Lady Cora, what's the next thing we're going to talk about tonight?
Well, we're going to jump back a little bit to a reference I made earlier. Despite less than impressive box office numbers and the possibility of following in Scarlett Johansson footsteps, ensuing Disney, it has been announced that Emma Stone has signed onto a sequel for Disney's Cruella. It does have respectable scores on Rotten Tomatoes, the first one that is, but it only made $211 million at the box office. Frank, I was wondering if you would be interested in a Cruella sequel.
Just a full disclosure, I haven't seen the first one yet.
What's wrong with you?
Me neither.
I mean, I haven't been that. Look, it just wasn't one of those movies I desperately wanted to go see.
I mean,
I certainly
haven't had
wasn't.
time.
I certainly wasn't going to go pay $30 to watch it in premium access on Disney Plus. I don't do that. I just haven't gotten around to it. They're just not that the marketing was bad.
Won't they eventually put it in the library?
It's eventually going to be in there, probably at some point in the next month. But and when it shows up on Disney Plus for free, I'll probably watch it.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, it did make as good of money as it could make, given the current situation with theaters and the pandemic and all. I haven't heard anybody say that the movie was bad. I mean, they said I've heard some people say it was average. I've heard people who have liked it. So why not go ahead and give the sequel a go? I mean, if Disney thinks they can make money at it, then by all means, Disney spend money. I don't think. Look, it's not like this movie cost $250 million to make like an Avengers movie.
No,
I think they made this movie for like 125.
I mean,
it's okay.
It's not like, I mean, I don't know why everyone seems to think that Disney, they start making these villain origin stories, like i.e. Maleficent. I'm like, it's not like it was a bad movie, and everyone seemed to fucking. Everyone seemed to like it, and I'm like, well, you made a sequel. All right, cool. I mean, what's wrong with Cruella making a sequel? Because I mean, if although I mean, how it ended, I'm kind of like, well, we know what happens next. So, was that? No, that was the end of the movie, right? That wasn't an end credit scene. Like I don't want to spoil it for Frank. I'm just, but like we know what happens next. I'm like,
to be honest, I'll watch it eventually. I'm just not in that big of a hurry.
Well, okay. I mean, you have Roger and Anita. They get the dogs they have in the first movie you ever see. They get them as puppies. I'm like, oh, okay. So there's Pongo as a puppy, and then her dog. I'm like, so that's yeah. I'm like, that sets up okay. Now they have the dogs they're eventually we're going to see in the first movie in the chronological order. They have them as puppies now. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. It's weird that it was a gift from Cruella, who's then in a couple of years going to be like, hey, I'm going to skin the puppies at these fucking. You know what I mean? I'm like, wait, where's that twist? Where's that like click where she's like, I want to make a coat out of all these puppies. I'm like,
well, there
it's a little bit off color, the whole concept.
You need to have a big fucking heel turn, because I'm like, yeah, how do you get? I mean, if it's an origin story, I'm like, all right, cool, but how do you get to where she wants to murder dogs? Like, what?
There can be some value to the idea. The exact budget, all it says on Wikipedia, for what it's worth, is the exact budget was between $1 and $200 million. That could be $101 million. That could be $199 million. I don't know. It took in $226.2 million at the box office so far, as according to Wikipedia. I don't know about if that's accurate or not. But I mean, look, there's some value to origin stories for villains. I mean, yeah, we know where she ends up in that crazy long, weird-shaped car chasing around 101 baby Dalmatians to make a coat out of their skin.
Oh no, the car's in the movie. You see how she gets the car too.
Yeah,
so I mean,
there's value to that. We don't. Hey, people like me and Jeremy don't have to go back that far to see where this kind of works anyway in the prequel trilogy for Star Wars. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I've kind of softened on that over the years, is I've just learned to look at it as an origin story for Darth Vader. Where does Darth Vader? Yeah, we know where Darth Vader goes, how it ends up for him. We know who his kids are, but there is some value in showing that visual as to how he got to that point. And I think there's something to those stories. I think it could be fun.
It's Star Wars now. It's there. Fucking get over it. Whatever. And I know. I mean, yeah, Frank, you and I are on different. It's like, oh, you you more so, you had the original movies like through your childhood. I'm like, I grew up with the prequels. I'm kind of, I guess, in the unfortunate group. As it so seems. I'm like, yeah, I
The
didn't.
middle. I like both, but I do prefer 4, 5, and 6.
Oh,
100%.
4, 5, and 6. You can't beat that shit. That to me, I'm like, now that I've seen them all, and now that I've kind of, I'm like, to me, that is Star Wars. Like 4, 5, and
Hmm.
6, that's Star Wars. I don't even know if I want to say the fucking sequels. I didn't hate the prequels. Like I said, maybe it's because I grew up with them as a kid, and I'm
Yeah.
like, and I grew with those. I mean, I was in like what, middle school, I think, when the last one came out. So I'm like, I was old enough. I watched them, and I was just like, oh, this is fun. This is cool. It's Star Wars. I did.
99, I think, is when
Yeah, it was
the
99,
first one came
2002,
out.
2005. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, I did watch the originals when I was a kid, like little kid before, because I remember going to see. Yes, I know I was probably a fetus in '99, but I'm just saying I went to see it when I saw episode one, like as a little kid, and I was just like, oh,
I'm
this is
sorry, that's
amazing.
really.
I know, yes. I had just started
That's the
kindergarten that
year
year.
I
Fuck you.
graduated high school.
Yes, I had just started. I was like 5 or 6.
Well, hey, you and I were in school at the same time for 1 year.
Yes, technically speaking. That's hilarious. Yeah. No, and I remember the fucking hype, dude. I remember being in the theater. Everyone had fucking like lightsabers and shit, and everyone was having a good time. I'm glad that is actually a memory that I still fucking retain. Because like, I remember being in the dark theater and I just see like lightsaber, everybody swinging shit around. They were having a good
Yeah.
time. It was awesome.
Yeah, I'm okay with the idea of a sequel to this movie. Why not? Now, and Cora did bring up the idea earlier that maybe this is done in part to placate
It's to
her, so
appease
she.
her, I think.
But
Pay the girl, makes the money from the movie, and she won't sue us.
well, here's the thing though: is usually by the time something like this gets announced publicly, the deal's already done. So I
Yeah.
feel like this was.
There's another leak. Oh no.
I feel like this was probably in the works for several months. Probably.
Okay.
I think the discussion for a sequel at least started way before, months before news broke about the lawsuit between Scarlett
Well,
Johansson.
couldn't
and
they have
Disney.
just announced that they're going to do it, but they haven't actually done anything with it yet?
They could, but yeah, I mean, it's possible. I mean, if I were, I'd be kind of pissed. I don't know if you want to put yourself in that position by saying, "Sure, we're probably going to go ahead and do this," especially considering that she's thinking about suing you, and then pull the rug out from under her, and then just piss her off even more.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're already going to end up having to settle out of court with Scarlett Johansson anyway. That's not going to cost you a little bit of money. It's going to cost you a lot. You don't really want to have to go this route with Emma Stone, even though you're not going to pay her nearly as much money to keep her happy in the end. But still,
Well, they don't have to spend a lot of money on. All they got to do is pay her what her contract said. Period. Scarlett Johansson. They don't have to make. All they have to do is say, "Okay, let's not go to court. Let's just get you paid."
Well, it's not about the money for Disney. Like I said, if they gave her $50 million right now for the money that she thinks she lost,
That's another Tuesday for them. They'd laugh.
That's Tuesday's gate receipts at Disneyland.
Yeah.
They don't care. That Bob Chapek walks around with that much money in his lunch pail. He doesn't care. So, and they would never in a million years have to give Emma Stone that much money. I mean, if she was lucky, they'd end up having to give her another $5 or $10 million. They're going to end up giving Scarlett Johansson probably somewhere in the range of 25 to 35, depending on if they settle that. That's my guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're not going to have to pay $5 or $10 million to Emma Stone, which is that's chump change to Disney. But
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this was probably in the works way before news broke about Scarlett Johansson's lawsuit, way before the news came out that Emma Stone was considering a similar lawsuit. But then again, maybe Disney's going to give her a little bit more of that back-end money on this than they would have, and say, hey, how about you not sue, and we'll give you an extra $5 or $10 million for being in the second one, knowing damn well that she's not worth it. But it's settling without settling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. It's pandering a little bit, but if it keeps her happy and it keeps content flowing and everybody makes money, who fucking cares?
Yeah. Whatever. I mean, it's again, I haven't seen the first movie, so I don't really know if it deserves a sequel or if a sequel's worth it or not. Disney probably will apparently think so. I mean,
Has Rachel seen it, Jeremy?
Do what?
Did Rachel see it?
No, I don't believe so. I think I asked her that like right before I came over. I don't think so, and I don't know if it is still on Disney Plus or if you have to pay for it.
I think it's still in
I think
premium
you have
access.
to.
Last I looked.
Okay. I mean, I would say I wouldn't. I'd wait till it comes out free on Disney because I mean I went to see it in theaters. That's fine. No, I went with my mom. I was like, I know I went with someone. It had to be my mom. I mean, we both enjoyed it.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Yeah, who?
I'm also a sucker for Emma Stone. I can't fucking say anything. I'm trying to not let
All
that
I gotta
fog
say,
my.
Easy A. Fucking great movie.
I've been wanting to
Fucking
watch
great.
that. I've been wanting to watch that movie for like the past
Can we
fucking
do a
week.
retro review of Easy A? I would
I
fucking
am
love it.
so down for that. That's my
Even if
sick day
even if
movie. That's
Frank
my
doesn't
comfort movie.
even if Frank doesn't want to do it, you and I should do it, Jeremy. We could pre-record it and he can put it on his channel.
Hey, we could. I don't think Rachel's seen it. We could fucking have her on her. See what she thinks about it.
Yes,
All
can we
right,
do that, Frank?
I just called you. She did
No, I
not
know
see
you mean your
Cruella. No.
girlfriend. Yeah.
Well, Cora's over here
Yes.
trying to program my channel for me, and Jeremy's over here about ready to get broken up by his girlfriend. So this is all going to be great fun.
Over Emma Stone. Come on.
No, you're calling her out online. I mean, I wouldn't be very happy with you either.
Just said come on the show. Damn it. Watch a movie and we'll come on the show and fucking do some shit. Jeez.
It's all good.
Anyway, while I'm trying to pull this picture up that I want to use for the next.
And sidestepping, I was requesting to do something you don't want to do.
Hey, do it. I'll give a damn. Let Aaron do stuff on here by himself. Well, one time I did, and then he.
Oh dear God. One time, huh?
Well, no, he would have done more, but he just got busy with work and all that stuff, so he didn't get a chance to.
That's fair.
Else.
That's fair.
I'm trying to kill some time while I pull up this picture I want to use for the next thing.
She has also not seen that. Well, you're in luck. I'm sitting here in my chair thinking I'm getting like really antsy. Like, where's my movie? I want to bring it back. Where's my movie? Fuck. I gotta go find it.
Your copy of it?
Yeah, like I said, that's my sick day.
Buy it because I really like that movie. I've seen it 4 times.
I don't want to talk about how many times I've seen it.
Well, let's save it for a review because I think we should do one.
Yeah. Like I said, that's my sick day movie. I would always put it on whenever I was like not feeling well or I was really sick, and it's usually like, I mean, we'll see how it goes this year with the Haunted Cave. Sometimes like the week right after, like the week after we have a big dinner like banquet get together after season, we get our last checks. But one time, man, I got like it was that week after I got really sick. I mean, it was all kind of over and done. I was like not feeling kind of well, and I was telling my friend who worked with me that year, I was like, dude, I should go home. Like, I could already tell. And then I got home, I just threw up, and I was like, yep, damn it. Because coming out of that, man, that fucking job, that sucks. You're just underground, you come back up, the temperature change, you're being in there running around, and it's 52 degrees all year. It's cold. You just kind of preemptively pop cold meds because that's kind of how you have to do it. It is what it is. I am very ready for September. I am still, with the help of Rachel, making a Texas Chainsaw Massacre inspired, like, well, I can't say inspired. It's basically that, an outfit for like one of the jobs. There's one where you kick down a
Frank's new movie. Find a way to do a cameo with the outfit.
Well, because like the only thing that's really from the movie, I would say, the original '74 movie, is I actually went and like I found it on Amazon. The tie that he wears, the little weird black tie with the weird little design on it. I bought that. Otherwise, I have a piece of like someone's face as a mask. It's not the actual. We went and bought a shirt that's very similar. I'm like, I have jeans, I can get boots. I'm making the apron, the bloody apron. I'm like, yeah, it's close, but the only thing that is the same is the tie. So.
Well, nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna use that for the. Oh, we actually, if anyone wants to see it, we're actually redoing our website a little bit. First thing that pops up is the commercial, which I was a part of, and also there are some very flattering pictures of me at the bottom, in outfit, slamming Autumn's face into a fucking refrigerator. Kind of awesome. That's my favorite picture. Like, I think she brought it up on like the employee page or something. She's like, "Yeah, here's this really awesome shot of me and him." Just sums it all up. I'm like, "Yeah, okay." I'm like this close to your face. I got your face like slammed into a fucking like fridge, and you're like, she's like screaming at the top of her lungs. So funny. It's a fun time.
Indeed. It'll be fun to watch your little horror movie you guys are gonna make.
All right.
It'll be fantastic when you guys have.
Was that enough time, Frank, for you to get your picture? We just bullshitted for like 5-10 minutes there.
Yeah, that gave me plenty of time. Thank you very much. Although I didn't get a chance to pull up the picture for the next thing that we wanted to talk about because it was kind of a late edition. But I don't think it's going to garner too much talk. So go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys think about your desire to see a Cruella Part 2. Disney's going to make it one way or the other, whether we want to see it or not. But just go down in the comments below. Let us know some of your thoughts. Cora, what's the next topic that we want to talk about tonight?
Well, Marvel's What If dropped its second episode this week, giving us the last work of Chadwick Boseman. This episode sees Boseman's T'Challa taken by the Ravagers instead of Peter Quill, and sees him become Star-Lord. Jeremy, what did you think of What If episode 2?
I think I'm still typing in the comments. Hold on.
Was it good, bad, ugly?
Fuck, everybody. Damn it, everyone's talking. I like
sure
this.
It was emotional, though, to see Chad Boseman's last.
Yes, I was gonna say man, I'm so glad he got to do this. This is awesome. Like, I don't know. I just every time I heard him speak, I'm just like, God, there he is. It's just weird. I'm like, oh man, he's still here, and I can see this. This is awesome. I thought it was pretty sweet. I'm like, I like how the subtle change of the helmet from the red eyes that Chris Pratt's character had to T'Challa's. It's the things are purple. I'm like, I'm like that is so fucking cool. Yes, he still had the necklace around his neck. I think the guns were even like they had like a purple hue on the top. I was like, that's pretty sweet. I think no, I didn't remember. I haven't seen Guardians. So I'm like, because I was thinking in the back of my mind, I was just fucking hearing Frank, which is scary enough. I just heard him like, is this different or is this just the same thing, but with, I'm like, well, it's the point is he is that character, but I'm like, I think some things actually were different this time, right? Like,
oh, there were several things that were different in this episode.
Obviously, Thanos. Can we talk about that?
There was one big one that was different this episode.
I bust out laughing like, God damn it, he's still defending himself, which I think is just a jab at us. Where he's like, I was kind of justified. And we're like, yeah, but it's genocide. He's like, yeah, but it makes sense. I'm like, stop, no. Damn it, stop. No, I stopped myself when he was when he was having that fight with those other two, with the aliens and shit. And I was like, why did I almost just go, come on, Thanos, come on, dude. I'm like, why am I cheering? Shit, why am I cheering for Thanos? Because he's a good guy? I'm like, God, I'm a terrible person. Fuck.
You're not a terrible person.
I'm like, it just seems hypocritical. I'm like, man, fuck this guy for killing half the universe. But then I'm like, come on, get up, dude. You're a Titan. You can do this. Yeah, it was fun. I appreciate Rooker still being there for his character, and again, of course, Chadwick. I think most of the people still voiced their characters. Even Kurt Russell still voiced his Peter Quill's dad.
Yeah, all the people that played the characters in the films have come back to voice the characters for the series.
Yeah, that's what's cool. I do appreciate that. And this was a wild little story. I kind of like this one. You can't go wrong with fucking Chadwick Boseman. That's not even just saying it posthumously. I'm like, no, this was fucking cool.
Yeah, this episode was far superior to the first one. It was so much better. Now, one of my knocks in the first episode is that all it did was kind of gender swap, or not even gender swap, just character swapped. And the rest of the story for the first episode was just what we had seen in the first Captain America movie. Just it was Peggy Carter instead of Steve Rogers. This movie really showed how that kind of butterfly effect situation can affect things going forward in time. He takes T'Challa instead of taking Peter Quill, and this leads to not only some significant differences in how things play out in the MCU, but it leads to him recruiting Thanos to become part of his crew and stopping the snap. That's a pretty significant fucking difference to make. I mean, that's
hilarious.
The entire Infinity Saga was ended because of that decision. It's like none of that happens now. But
which then makes me wonder. I mean, if we can talk about this big elephant in the fucking room with the Collector, I'm like, dude had Mjolnir and he had fucking Cap's shield. He had Hela's headdress. I'm like, whoa, what happened? Whoa, what happened to these people? Oh shit.
We don't know. That's part of the fun. But what we do know is the snap never happened.
Yeah.
So, and
Well,
it also
yeah.
made the Collector much more powerful than we saw him in the films. In the
True.
films, he's kind of a sad little speck of a man. I mean, he carries himself well, but in the
Yeah.
films, he's kind of a putz. In this movie, he is the badass. In this particular version of time, anyway, in this episode, he is the badass. So yeah, it severely altered the way that the MCU went forward after this one little thing changes. This is what the show is supposed to be. I think. I thought this episode was so much better.
How about that Wakandan spaceship? That was pretty sweet.
That was pretty sweet. And also, I mean, another significant thing that it altered was the fact that T'Chaka didn't die. He's actually still the king of Wakanda when he makes his way back after all those years of rolling around with the Ravagers. So, yeah, there was a couple of pretty significant plot points throughout the MCU up to this point that were severely altered.
Also, Rachel brought up a good point. She's like, wait, where's Gamora? I'm like, yeah, where's Rocket and Groot? What the fuck happened? Hold on.
Hey, there's still, 4 episodes left of this? We might find out.
True.
Maybe somehow they end up in an Iron Man suit. Who the hell knows?
Wait, maybe it's all connected. All this what if is connected.
It's all connected.
Dun dun dun.
I missed that. That bombed so badly when they were trying.
I thought. I was gonna say, is it inevitable? When fucking Thanos turned around, he's like, "I'm not crazy." And he turned around, I'm like, "Are you gonna say inevitable?" He's like, "Mad." I was like, "Oh, damn it." I thought he was gonna be like, "I'm inevitable."
Although I thought that was fun because they call him the Mad Titan, so I thought that was really fun play on words.
Right. True.
But
true.
Yeah, I thought this episode was a lot better than the first one. If the rest of these episodes are like this moving forward, I'm really excited to what it can bring, especially the zombies episode. That's the one that I'm most interested in seeing because I would love to see Marvel Zombies.
I have to catch up
in live action. But the other thing that happened in this episode that I really like, and I have a really unpopular opinion about this character, is Howard the Duck actually has more dialogue.
I fucking knew we were going to talk about that. As soon as I saw it, I was like, Frank is going to say some shit about that. I already knew it. I'm like,
look, I've said it 100 times, and Kevin Feige, if you ever watch the show, just please. I want a good Howard the Duck movie. I know that one that George Lucas made. I know that one that George Lucas made in the 80s was terrible. I mean, my 12-year-old self liked it, and I like it when I kind of watch it again through those glasses. But I really, you don't have to make him an Avenger. You don't have to give him a superpower. Just give me a fun Howard the Duck movie that I can just watch and enjoy. You don't have to make it a big part of the MCU. Spend $80 million. That's all I'm asking you to do. It doesn't have to be $250 million. $80 million. A couple of fun cameos, let him go be what he is, and have some fun with it. I think that would be great fun, and I think people would look at that character a lot differently if they did that. They're never going to fucking do it. I really wish they would. I think that could be fun. But ultimately this episode was fantastic. I thought it was exactly what it lives up to the name of what if this happened. They didn't really do a lot of that in the first episode. Kind of bland. Didn't change a lot of things. Except that, Steve becomes Ironmonger or kind of the early version of Iron Man rather than anything else. Mm-hmm. But this second episode, it really does go down this weird path. I mean, Thanos is a good guy in this episode. Yeah. I mean, that flips the entire Infinity Saga on its ass.
Well, because someone brought up, I think Rachel brought up the point, because guess what? That means Peter Quill didn't do the thing where everyone's giving him shit for it, but I'm like, where he fucked up and just, the snap still happened. I'm like, well, yeah, I guess technically that wouldn't have happened then, since he's not the one who did it. So.
That scene at the end where Ego, the Living Planet, comes down anyway, and he finds Peter Quill working at some McDonald's or something like that.
It was a Dairy Queen. Dairy Queen.
That's what it was, Dairy Queen.
Yeah, he still had the headphones on though. I was like, okay, you still got the Walkman. I appreciate that.
And he was still listening to those groovy '80s jams. So I was.
Fuck yeah! We were when T'Challa walked in, and it looked like when on Morag, I was like, does he have the Walkman? Is he still gonna? And Rachel's like, oh, you better have some R&B tunes or something. Like, oh fuck yeah, I'm here for it. If he just dances in and fucking grabs that shit.
God, who was it that did the soundtrack for Black Panther? Khalifa. Who was it? Kendrick Lamar.
I don't know.
Lamar.
Yeah.
If he'd have been bumming some Kendrick Lamar, I'd have been okay with that.
Oh,
he'd
fuck
have
yeah.
He'd have pulled his iPod out, just been like Kendrick Lamar in the ears while he does, and he does
put the AirPods in.
He does some break dancing through the temple until he finally gets the Power Stone. That would have been good. I could have dug that.
That would have been sweet.
But yeah, what if again a much better episode than the first? Hopefully they continue on through this. I'm surprised they didn't save the Chadwick Boseman episode for near the end though.
Eh,
I thought they would have come out with that one a little bit later, considering that he passed away and everybody was wanting to see this episode. It's the last we get to hear him voice the character, and I gotta admit, the first time I heard him speak, there was this happy sadness that kind of came over me.
mm-hmm.
I'll probably watch the episode again just to hear his voice. I don't think
I
I'll ever
agree.
replace him. But if for no other reason, if you like Black Panther, and the guy put so many good works together anyway.
That's my segue right there. Wakanda forever. Rest in peace, Chad.
Absolutely, but
and that's the purple lights too. I got you.
But it was very good to hear his voice one last time. A little bit of closure for all of his fans.
Mm-hmm.
I think it worked. And to top it off, it was a fantastic episode. It was wildly entertaining. But go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys think of episode 2 of What If. And we got one more thing I want to mention tonight. In closing, we do want to say a very sad rest in peace to a legend that Jeremy and I mean, we've watched this guy in a whole bunch of things over the years. To the martial arts and acting legend Sonny Chiba. He was an action star in his native Japan with over 200 film credits to his name. He died yesterday from pneumonia related to COVID-19. Chiba became known to American audiences in 1974 martial arts grindhouse classic The Street Fighter, no relation to the game that I know of, which was distributed domestically by New Line and became kind of a surprise box office hit, spawning several sequels. The film also inspired Quentin Tarantino, who worked the Street Fighter series into his screenplay for True Romance, and later cast Chiba in perhaps his best-known role in our generation, the sword craftsman Hattori Hanzo in Kill Bill Volume 1. Jeremy, Sonny Chiba was a black belt in 7 different disciples of the martial arts. Can you believe this shit?
I only have one. I can't fucking say anything. Jesus.
Seven different disciplines of the martial arts. He had a black belt. And
man, if you weren't that close to being Batman already, shit, man.
Yeah, you don't get a black belt for showing up. I mean, black belt is the
trust me.
Yeah, it is the crown jewel in any martial art. He had a black belt in 7 different disciplines.
Yeah, trust me, I know.
How ridiculous is that?
I broke my hand over getting a black belt. Trust me, I know. Yes.
Looking
in a toe.
Yeah, looking through this, I mean, let's see. Oh. He also Tarantino also borrowed Samuel L. Jackson's legendary recitation of Ezekiel 25:17 in Pulp Fiction from the movie starring Sonny Chiba, The Bodyguard, in which he used that Bible verse in the opening moments of the film. This guy has been, as I hit my computer with my hand by accident, this guy has been a tremendous inspiration to pop culture for a long time. In 2018, the Wu-Tang Clan's RZA released a song entitled Sonny Chiba, dedicated to the action star. And Keanu Reeves called Chiba one of his idols while promoting John Wick, which led to a surprise meeting of the two actors, which you can find on Japan Society Films' Twitter page. They actually posted a video of it yesterday.
Nice.
Or actually today, of when Sonny Chiba surprised Keanu Reeves on set of an interview in Japan for John Wick. But on top of that, I mean, he also appeared in some other American films like Aces, Iron Eagles 3, which was a very terrible third part of that franchise, but I still enjoyed him in it. A movie called Immortal Kombat. He was also in the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, where he played a Yakuza crime lord. Tokyo
Drift, yes. That was the other one I saw him in.
Yeah, but, again, just an absolute legend. Somebody who I could not gush over enough. Jeremy, I grew up watching the 70s and early 80s martial arts stuff. I know Night Over in the Night Watch Zone talks a lot about these movies. I've been trying to go back and rewatch a lot of the stuff from that era again because of him and some of his talk on that genre recently. What are some of your thoughts about Sonny Chiba?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, dude's no damn joke. He had 7 fucking black belts in different disciplines. That's enough just for me. You know what I mean? It always sucks when we lose somebody that's. I mean, it's especially obviously as talented as that. Like I said, I only have one. I can't fucking say that. And I've not been in Tokyo Drift or fucking Kill Bill. Like talking about me and stuff I grew up with. Yeah, shit. Sucks.
Yeah, the closest I've ever come to being as cool as this guy is I watched Kill Bill Volume 1 a lot of times. That's the closest I've ever come to being that cool. I mean, There are some people that I really like it when an actor kind of commands your attention when he's in the scene, when he's on the screen. That's one of those guys where it's like these older Asian people, like there is this weird knowledge that they exude whenever you are in the room with them. It's like their mere presence commands a certain amount of respect. And when he was on the screen, that's what I felt from him. It's like, this guy's been around a while. And it wasn't until I was reading through a little bit of this an hour or so before we started the show that I found out that he had the 7 black belts in 7 different martial arts disciplines. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, that is ridiculous. I mean, they're like the UFC fighters. It's like they practice really, really hard in a lot of different disciplines of martial arts and boxing and wrestling. But I don't think any of these guys, I mean, you look at like Khabib, Conor McGregor, some of these are the biggest names in UFC since its inception. Do they have black belts in 2 of these things?
So I don't know.
I don't know.
Because I like my joke was I was like, well, I should go get a black belt in another fucking discipline. I'm like, then technically I'm a mixed martial artist now because now I have 2 different things. But yeah, shit, I don't know. I had to look into it more because I mean UFC is actually weirdly one thing I'm like at least semi into or keep up with. I'm honestly not sure.
Yeah, I noticed some of the 70s martial arts stuff because it's so choreographed and because the cinematography style was different back then. They didn't necessarily age well, but put all that out of your mind and just watch them. They are still so good to watch. They're so good just to sit there and eat some popcorn or a hot dog and just watch the shit happen. Because they are very character driven as well. Because, you know, back in the 70s and early 80s, you didn't have the luxury of CGI and all the big explosives and shit like that. You couldn't be one-dimensional back in the 70s. You had to have good character and good dialogues. So you not only had the martial arts aspect, which is fun to watch from an action standpoint, but you had the great character development in a lot of these movies. And he was one of the guys that was a big part of that.
Nice.
But, Cora, do you have any thoughts on Sonny Chiba as we get ready to close this thing out?
Not really. I'm sorry. I'm just tired from working all day. Catching up.
Same.
Great show, though. I really enjoyed the discussions.
Oh,
And
now
I'm really looking forward to seeing Freeman this weekend.
Yeah,
now Jennifer wants to come in the chat. Jeez.
I know, right? Always at the last second. Way to go.
God damn it.
I could have used your 2 hours of watch time if you'd have been on this in the very beginning, but whatever.
I was there. Damn it.
No, Jeremy was here. Rachel was here. She's in
All right.
the chat. I mean, come on. You gotta keep up. You gotta keep it funny. But, go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys think of Sonny Chiba. Is there a role that stands out? Is there any thoughts you have? I mean, like I said, some of the younger generations, they may only really know him from Kill Bill. But how old was he when Kill Bill came out? This was...
No idea.
How old is Kill Bill? It's
It
about...
was in the
15
Almost
early,
10, 15 years.
early 2000, like 2000,
It has. Let me look it up.
2001 or
I'm pretty
2.
sure
So
at
he
least
was
10
like
years.
70-ish when that movie filmed. He didn't look 70.
Well-
Kill Bill came out in 2003. Yeah, that was a
3.
long time ago. Almost.
Excuse you.
God, so yes.
It's been a long time.
So he would have been around 70, and he looked like he was 50.
Well, shit. Tokyo Drift was also
I
early
think they
2000s
do
too,
makeup
right?
on him though.
I mean, even this picture, it's like I would imagine that's fairly recently, but he still doesn't look like he's pushing 90.
Right.
I mean, he looks like he would still kick my ass now if I bumped into him the wrong way on the street.
Right.
Like, if I didn't give him the proper respect and apologize and bow, that he would pull some kind of, like, crazy roundhouse and just knock my friggin' block off, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like, God, but yeah, rest in peace to Sonny Chiba. I mean, we're losing a whole generation of actors and actresses that have seen, that know what it's like to make movies when movies were still, like, great. Before that dark period of the late 80s and 90s where CGI became everything and things got really one-dimensional for a while. I mean, there is a whole lot of movies out there from the 60s, 70s, and early 80s where they had to be character-driven, dialogue-driven, story-driven. And this is one of the guys from that generation. So go back and check out some Sonny Chiba movies and let us know in the comments below what you guys think. And I believe that is all that we have time for today. Were you about to say something, Cora?
Don't forget to check out the Patreon and have a wonderful weekend.
Yes, and before I forget, we
Go see
also
the movie.
do have the Discord. you guys should definitely go check out our Discord. We're doing a lot of movie discussion stuff over there while we're not actively live on screen doing some of these talks. So go join us on the Discord so we can keep talking movies when we're not live. The link to that is in the chat below. Also, don't forget about the Patreon. If you support us for just $5 a month, we give away $25 in free movie tickets every month to one lucky Patreon supporter. Again, this is not to support the movie theater production companies. This is to support the theaters and the people that work at them. We want to make sure we're getting people back to the theater. I know there's still some curious things going on about different variants of the virus, blah, blah, blah. But we are eventually going to get through all this.
And hey, if you go at the right time, like I did a couple weeks ago, I had a theater all to myself. There was nobody.
Me and Jennifer went to go see Free Guy again today, and there was 2 other people in the theater.
Yeah, so go now because you'll have the theater to yourself.
So yes, I also tend to go to the early showings, but
all the kids are about to be back in school. So yeah.
Today was day 1 for school around here. Actually, that's why today was a good day.
Yeah.
But anyway, go join the Patreon. I will probably be giving away the $25 for next month, probably next Thursday, because the Thursday after that is when we're going to have our fantasy football draft live on here. There's not going to be any movie talk a week from 2 weeks
Jeremy's
from today.
favorite day.
So I will not be there.
2 weeks from
exactly.
today, Jeremy will probably not be on the show. You guys are going to have to live without
Jeremy, I was setting my team up to share it with you.
That's cool. I'd still not know what the fuck you were talking about.
But yeah, 2 weeks from today, we'll be here for the big fantasy football draft for the Derailed Fantasy Football League. I will let everybody look good and give them hope for one day, and then after that, I'm just going to run off with this damn thing. I'm taking everybody's money. I'm going to be number 1. Everybody else is playing for number 2. Like, Cora's got Gina J helping her, so it's going to take 2 people to try to finish second.
Who did this shit? I knew. And we decided it'll be the girl team.
It's going to be the girl team. Hey, whatever. Definitely come check us out next week for whatever news stories we decide to talk about, and then week after next for the big draft for the Derailed Fantasy Football League. Until then, Miss Cora, where can the folks find you on the internet?
Nowhere. I'll just see you on Here and Derailed.
On Here and Derailed. That's where you can find Lady Cora. Jeremy, how about you? You got some gaming stuff going on. Tell us about it.
Oh, well, that's boring because you can find me everywhere on the same name because you know what it is. Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah, that. I have a number. Yeah. What's next? Fucking shit. I don't even know. I haven't done jack shit. Although me and Cora have been talking about possibly doing like I can do something, and she wants to do editing, so maybe she'll actually make me look halfway decent as I claim to be. So. Well,
since this is something that actually happened today, Jeremy, and it involves gaming, did you get a chance to check out the Warzone event at Verdansk today?
Well, you know me, I'm a working man, so no. Yeah, no, that happened last time with Cold War. We actually said like, no, fuck this. We're like in work, we're working, and we put my phone down. I watched someone live do it, and I was like, we watched it happen. This time I unfortunately did not get to, but I saw, I guess what I assume was the trailer for it or something, the big announcement for Vanguard. I'm very fucking excited. I know I said the same thing about Cold War. Now I'm just like, I wouldn't touch Cold War with a fucking stick. Fuck away from me.
I still have not bought Cold War. I have no intention of doing it. The game I played the beta, didn't do anything.
I am there now. Yes, I have no intention of doing it. I'm sorry. I played the beta as well, and I was like, okay. I kind of felt bad. Like, it looks great. It looks fucking hyped. It's fun. But then I'm like, okay, this isn't really fun. And then we know about all the hackers, so that's just not happening. But
like,
it's.
When I watch Casey play Fortnite, there's all these people who come in as anonymous, and he says have stupid hacks that aren't following the rules. Is that what you mean by?
Yeah, probably. That's probably what.
Okay.
Now, people can come across there as like player 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whatever, because they have a streamer mode on, which is just kind of for their protection and everyone else's, so that a name doesn't come up and you can't just blast somebody out to the internet like we're doing now with all these hackers. Because the only content you have for Warzone anymore now is just people are just sitting back and watching people play, spectating their games, and I'm like, more often than not, it's just a fucking hacker doing stupid shit, and I'm like, hello, Activision is just not raising a fucking red flag? Jesus Christ! I mean, really. So I'm a little hesitant, but I'm like, I trust it because it's World War II. It's it's not. We talk about, but don't talk about the jetpack era of fucking Call of Duty. It's not that dumb shit. No one's gonna be hacking right off the bat. Probably, I hope. It's Sledgehammer doing it again, who did World War II, which I enjoyed very much, and I don't know. I'm hyped. It looks really sweet.
I
I'm ready.
actually did manage to play the event because you could actually go back and replay it after it all went live.
Yeah.
I did get
True.
some video of it. I will probably put that up sometime later tonight of my personal
Please.
gameplay when I got a chance to go back through it.
It's out for pre-order, and I might actually do it. So
I don't know.
I might do it. It's not. I don't know, man.
I don't know. I'm thinking on the pre-order. I thought about it today as I was watching it all, and I'm like, because
Well,
the best Call of Duty games are from the World War II era. And
That's what I'm saying.
One of the things that I find really, really interesting about this is it's not just because my knock on the Call of Duty World War II games at this point has always been that they all happen in the European theater, and there was a lot of talk that the next game might actually go to the Pacific theater and
Yes.
Guadalcanal and the invasion of the islands and stuff like that.
Midway.
But this, I mean, if you've watched the trailer closely, it points out the African theater in World War II,
Yes.
the Eastern Front between Germany and Russia, the Western Front between the United States and Great Britain and the Nazis, and the Pacific theater of the Americans fighting the Japanese naval forces. So
I saw that and I was like,
very sweeping, very grand game. So I'm really intrigued. I do want to see some more.
Yeah, as soon as it said Africa, I'm like, oh, you about to seriously be like, okay, Africa, Europe, and the Pacific and shit? I'm like, because I'm down for that. If you cover all points of this fucking war, that's awesome. Yeah. I'm cool with that.
So I'm really, really intrigued. I want to see some more, though.
Here's the thing. Someone at GameStop told me this. I mean, pre-order, you can play the beta. Technically, all you're doing, you're paying $5 at minimum to get a pre-order. You can play the beta. If you don't like it, I mean, what? $5 back. You didn't really. I mean, if you don't like it, then fine. You're not paying $60 for the game, finding out you don't like it.
The beta's already open too.
Yeah, so I might pre-order it and check it out because I mean I am all for having a fucking Car 98 for like the third game in a fucking row now. I love that gun, damn it. It's World War II Modern Warfare, and you can't do it without it. I think that was a Lee Enfield in that trailer. I think, but I am all for it.
I didn't get a good look. I was just watching because it's a beautiful looking game. The graphics look really, really good. So I'm hopeful for this one. Didn't like Cold War, didn't do it for me. But this game, like I said, Call of Duty is at their
You're telling me the 80s didn't do it for you?
No, it didn't.
I know, right?
Not in that game, it didn't. No, not even close. But
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe one of these days I'll pick it up if it ends up being discounted, and I'll go through at least the campaign. But
yeah,
I played the multiplayer for the beta.
I know whenever campaign because I'm like this. If you're promising me this shit, I mean I want to see it. So I mean, I do that and then I just fuck off on multiplayer for the rest of it. I mean, I kind of just end up kind of forgetting, but I get it to do the mechanics of the game first to get a feel for it. So, nice. And then crank up my fucking sensitivity like something really stupid high, like 20, and then go on quick scope. Hey, we're gonna start quick scoping Timmy's. The fucking Christmas noobs are gonna be coming.
Yeah.
I gotta get ready and get in it now before they get it for Christmas, and I'm already fucking like level 50, and I'm gonna fucking scoop your head off with a fucking sniper rifle.
No doubt. But that's our show for tonight. Go down in the comments below. Let us know if you guys are excited for Call of Duty Vanguard. I was actually kind of surprised at the name. I heard Vanguard a while back in a leak, and I was like, I think that might be a placeholder name.
You mean a leak?
Yeah, a leak. You can rely on Call of Duty leaks a lot more than you can on leaks from Hollywood. But go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys think about the new Call of Duty Vanguard. If you guys played the live event on the Warzone map, or what you guys think of the trailer when it came out online just after that. But until then, on behalf of my amazing co-host who I love dearly, thank you very much. I will see you guys later. Adios.
Spay and neuter your pets.
Wakanda forever.
JCS foot rub.